men are failing in leadership today. And why do I say this? Well, we know this is true because of the 50% divorce rate. And you may say, well, how is it that you're putting the blame here on men when it's the ladies here that are filing for divorce 70% of the time? Well, I believe it's how you look at the statistic. Does this statistic indicate that women as a collective are just impossible to please? Or does the statistic indicate that men are just collectively awful at being husbands? Well, I think it's really a combination of the two. I don't think we can simply come to the conclusion that all women are just completely impossible to make happy, where they're just all finicky, unloyal, hypergamous in nature, and that men are just all saintly and incapable of doing any wrong. So I don't think that we can point that finger. Most women know what kind of guys are out there. So if they jump ship and bail out of the marriage, it's because they believe that they can do better. And sometimes doing better means being alone. So yes, there's always going to be that small percentage of women who truly are incapable of ever being happy with any man. But I believe the vast majority of women do enter into marriage in good faith, and that they do try over and over again to talk to their husbands when there's problems or issues. But the husband refuses to listen, or he jumps to defensiveness and asks why she has to be a nag all the time. Then one day she has an epiphany and realizes that nothing is going to change. And so she stops trying. She stops talking. She stops complaining. She goes silent. And meanwhile, the guy is thinking, oh, good, she's finally stopped nagging me. We must be cool. Not realizing that a woman's silence is the scariest sound you can ever hear. And it's not until he's actually hit with divorce papers where he's like, oh, shit. What happened here? Where did this come from? It seems to be out of the blue. But it wasn't out of the blue. Most women do really attempt to discuss things and bring up concerns. But far too many men don't take a woman's concerns seriously until divorce is staring at them in the face. And then and only then are they willing to hear what she has to say. But by then it's too late. She's already mentally moved on. So this finger-pointing gender war where men view women as being problematic due to the fact that there are ones who actually file for divorce the majority of the time, while ignoring their direct contribution to the problem of the relationship with their lack of frame and poor leadership, is simply unfair. And it's just as easy to use that stat to say that men don't know how to properly treat women in marriage. But here's the reality. Women don't just magically become attracted to other men for no reason. It happens when she becomes disgusted by a man's lack of frame and lazy leadership. And these are going to negatively affect her perception, and she's going to become bitter over time. And most women can endure short periods of being miserable. But if your lack of leadership extends for too long, the idea of living with you just becomes super unattractive. So she will divorce you, not because she's a finicky woman, but because your presence became an additional weight for her. It became a constant burden instead of being a blessing in her life. Remember, nobody shows up on their wedding day hoping that it ends in divorce. On the wedding day, both men and women take their vows seriously. And when the for worse part comes around, because it will, men will just grit their teeth and endure. But women just have a lower tolerance for emotional pain and suffering. We just aren't built to endure chronic emotional stress. And a chronically stressful marriage is going to be overwhelming to a woman. And she'll file for divorce just for her own sanity. And it really just has to get pretty bad for a woman to file for divorce, because despite how favorable the laws actually are for them, they still end up financially at a much worse position than before. The majority of them end up in poverty. And mind you, women don't even like being single, and they want to be in a committed relationship. I mean, they're the ones that are always pushing for marriage, right? It's not the guys. So women don't want to be single. But at the same time, they also don't want to be married to someone who acts like a child. They expect to be married to a man who is capable and trustworthy, and who offers the safety of a strong frame and great leadership. And when that happens, and there's that strong, raw physical attraction, and you combine it with a strong masculine frame and leadership, that's like a trifecta that no woman can resist. And she won't find any other man even remotely attractive, because finding a man with all three is almost impossible. So learn this formula. Sheer raw attraction plus respect, which is accomplished via having a strong frame plus good leadership, plus a woman being afraid to lose you is the secret formula. You know, on SpongeBob, where Plankton's always trying to find the secret formula, this is your secret formula for long-term sexual attraction. Sheer raw attraction plus respect that is accomplished through frame and leadership, plus a woman being afraid to lose you. That's it. And too many times men actually do finally learn what works to have a successful long-term relationship. But for far too many men, this happens after the divorce, when they are forced to look back and ask the question, what went wrong? And I'm not here to kick any guy when he's down. It's nobody's fault. Like, nobody taught you. You didn't have the skills. You just simply weren't educated. It's like someone throwing a set of keys to a toddler and telling them to go drive the car. But despite their best effort, they're going to crash. I mean, that's to be expected, right? So don't be surprised when nobody has taught you how to avoid a crash. Are you a married man who is stuck in a sexless marriage? Well, if so, you certainly are not alone. Listen, seducing a woman once is hard enough, but maintaining that desire for years, if not decades, is a whole different game. It's a game of knowledge and skill, and nobody teaches men how to do this. Not your parents, not society, and certainly not the woman that you're married to. I'm Monica Almaguer. I've been teaching thousands of men the specific tips, tools, and techniques to create a hot, steamy marriage on my podcast, Modern Marriage with Monica. But now I've taken all that information, those thousands of hours, and really have just distilled everything that you need to move the needle in your relationship with your wife into one simple course. And before you ask, no, your wife doesn't need to know or be on board. It requires nothing from her. In my course, How to Create and Maintain Long-Term Sexual Attraction, I give you all the information, all the tools, not just for right now, but for years. Let me just go over a couple of the things that you're going to learn in my course. The first thing is the 6 pillars of long-term attraction. We're going to go over the proper expectations. We're going to go over how women really work, polarity, the proper masculine and feminine dynamic. I've put together everything you need to create this environment in which your marriage and your sex life is not only just going to survive, but thrive. If this is something that you would like more information on, go ahead and hit that button below.